Welcome to Evolving Women, where we talk real reinvention, purpose in midlife, and what it means to rise into who you were always meant to be. I'm Teresa Lisum, and today's conversation is just one more reminder that it's never too late to rewrite your story. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Evolving Women. I'm Teresa Lisum, and I'm here today with my amazing guest co-host, Claire Miller. Welcome, Claire.
Hi
We're
there,
so glad
Teresa.
that you're here. And through
Yeah.
the wonder and amazement of technology, we are able to connect and bring you this episode as she's on, like, I don't know if it's the other side of the world, but pretty darn far. And we only are able to do this because of technology. So, people can badmouth technology, but I love it just
Yeah.
because of this, of the
hmm
connections we're able to make. So, welcome so much, Claire. Tell us where you're from, and we'll go from there.
Okay. Well, I live in Glasgow, Scotland.
Isn't that amazing? And I'm in the States in Nevada, and we're able to chit chat. It's the end of Claire's day and the beginning of my day, and we're making it work. So I wanted to bring Claire on. We were just talking before we hit the record button. She's an author, a children's author. I want her to share her journey with you. But we were just talking how writers and creatives in general are the vessel for what comes forth through them. And Claire is, like I said, an author. She's going to tell about her journey here shortly, but it was just really a good way of starting this conversation. And go ahead, kind of repeat what you already shared with me, Claire, before we started this episode.
Right. Well, what I was saying to you was that I kind of like I hold the pen and I wait and I see what actually comes out onto the page. And the more I write, the more the characters take over. And in my novel called The Choice, there was one character in it who I hate. I hated when I was writing this character, and I was writing this character. And I
Wow.
went, you can't say anything worse. And I'm writing away and I went, you did.
Oh man.
It was like, you said what? And I have never had that before. That was quite amazing.
Wow. That is, I
Yes.
really don't know how to respond to that. That is amazing, magical, a little scary all at the same time, but
Um,
you're
yeah.
allowing that to come through.
Yeah, it's all the stories just take over. When I write, like my current story is about an octopus, so I like the story to come from the octopus's point of view, and I become my character. So whatever my characters are thinking, feeling, seeing, touching, hearing, then that's what comes out on the paper because that's what makes a story alive for a reader.
Wow. And as I said, I've heard that from other authors and creatives. It doesn't matter what that person is creating, whether it be something on canvas or a musical piece or whatever, or just a recipe. I think
Yeah.
that's magical, and somebody can pull recipe like ingredients together and make something amazing because I can't do that. So to me, that's a very creative endeavor, and that is something that is probably coming from that stream of consciousness too. So how did you get started on this? And thanks for sharing that because that is amazing. And that's so funny that you're like talking to your to your story.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I always enjoyed reading when I was younger, and I wrote a kind of like teenage book called The Ringle Bells Mystery, which is based on a story of five children and a dog. And then when I went to get my English higher in secondary school, I took two goes at it. And the second go, I wrote a story, and it literally fell on the paper. And I thought, this is amazing. And then I thought, I'm never going to see it again because it was exam paper. And
And what
looking,
what age was this?
oh, 17, 18.
Okay, so you were a young adult. Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Go
Uh-huh.
ahead.
Um, So I wrote the story, and then I went off. I went to college, worked, got married, and then at some point I thought I really want to do something about writing. So I went to a 6 week evening class on creative writing, and I was hooked. Ever since that
Mm,
point in my life, and that was in 2001, I've had a pen and paper near me at all times.
mm.
And at night, I've gone from what you'd call a small notepad to an A4 notepad because I can wake up with some really weird dreams.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Um, and then then as when my younger daughter was growing up, I was writing stories for her. And then I got asked to go to the local primary school because so I said to my daughter, she came home and she said, Mum, the children are doing activities on a Friday and the teachers need some of the adults to come in. And I went, well, that's fine. I've got four stories I wrote you, but I don't know what I'm going to do. So, there we go. I'm walking up to the school, not quite
Mm,
knowing why I'm going there, but I'm going there. And then I said to school, I've got four stories here. And they went, that's fantastic. Would you read them to the children? At which point I think I physically took a step backwards and went, no, 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 that was far too brave to actually, read to
hmm.
kids. But I tell you what I'll do is I'll create a story with a group of children. And the school went, brilliant. We'll tell you when you're coming in. And I got outside the school and I went, did you just say what I thought you said? Another part of my brain went, absolutely. And I went, and how are you going to do that? So I went home and I drew a mind map and I thought, I knew what I wanted to do. So I went in on certain Fridays for 4 years with groups of
Wow.
children. And they created a character, they created a story, drew me pictures. I brought all the information home, printed it, scanned it, got it bound, took it back in. And so each child got a copy of their individual story, which had been created as a group. And
Wow.
that was sort of like, that was in 2013 I started that. So I've been running story creating workshops for quite a long time, really.
Wow. And I love
Yeah.
that you didn't know what you were going to do. Like you just were stepping forward and with some hesitation and some fear and some uncertainty, and then you just did it anyway.
Yeah, it was fantastic fun. I mean, I got to play with children's imagination. It wasn't really hard in any way whatsoever. I mean, there was a child that was on the back of a zebra going through a jungle, and then they meet a pyramid, because you always do in jungles. And in the doorway to this pyramid, there is a lion who says, if you come this way, come down the hallway, there's a magic portal to a treasure trove at the end of it. And I went, absolutely, yeah, yeah, that happens.
Oh,
And
wow.
it's
So
fun.
you were like transcribing, capturing what the kids were sharing with you in
Yeah,
their
I was,
creative moments right then and there.
yeah, I'd ask questions like, where do you think the story starts? And what do you think your character is doing? Why do you think your character is doing that? And then the most important question is what happens next? So in any story, in creating any story, anyone, adult or child, it doesn't matter. What happens next is the most powerful question. So you can got them like we've got this zebra with the girl in the back going down the corridor in the pyramid, and what happens next. And I just waited to see what came out the kids' mouths because you never knew what was coming
Oh,
next.
wow. That is so cool. That reminds me of like we think of it as a game where you say one sentence and then the next person says another sentence, and you're just trying to tie them together and then you say another sentence so you're collaborating together to
Yeah,
create this story, just one sentence at a time. I mean,
yeah,
so this is like an expanded version of that
yeah. It's just this. It's fun. I get to play.
with kids.
Well, every adult is a child, has
Yes.
been a child, and my inner child has never grown up. So
Hmm.
I have lots of cuddly toys, which I've discovered I can use. in my background, as you can see here, or I've got this is Rory. This is a very special. This is Rory, my dragon, story loving dragon. And he comes out with me and he gets his picture taken, sort of like he grooms himself very carefully before I take the picture. And then, yeah, then I just have adventures with cuddly toys and imaginations.
Oh my gosh. And I love what you said about all adults have an inner child that they don't necessarily allow out. Like they feel it needs to be hidden and it's not time for that inner child anymore. We have to do adulting stuff. I remember when I was a young adult or a teen, like I didn't want to grow up. Like it was too much fun being a child. So even now I feel I'm playful, fun. I lead my laughter yoga sessions once a month. And it's just like I have to invite people to allow their inner child to come out because they don't, unless you have kids and you're interacting with kids on a regular basis,
Yeah.
we don't always have that opportunity or that excuse to get playful and have fun and get silly and goofy. Um, so,
Yeah.
what have you found?
Well, do you know, I'll tell you a tale. I ran a story creating workshop for adults, and there's one lady who came along and she said, I don't have an imagination.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm an accountant.
yeah, yeah, I bet.
But I remember when my very first dog was a puppy, it got lost one time, and I got the impression that this was a good number of years ago, and I kind of made the guess that she'd had lots of dogs since then.
Okay.
And I went, so you remembered that? So I play a game with a cuddly toy where the group creates a story. Then I give them the activity sheets, and then they get off and they write their own stories. And she wrote a story about this puppy, which was magic. So she'd all written a story when she didn't think she could. And the
Mm-hmm.
last thing she said before she left was, and now I've remembered that puppy again.
Oh.
And I just thought, wow,
Oh,
really?
and you turned a key or lit a little spark or something in a woman who didn't think she even had an imagination anymore. Oh my God, that is so beautiful.
Yeah, it's just it gets me here.
Oh
It's
yeah,
just,
I mean you can
you
see
know,
my hands up there too, like oh my
yeah.
gosh, and that is magical, and you're providing, you're gifting them back to themselves, basically that connection with their own inner child.
Yeah, I mean, everyone has an imagination, but sometimes life just gets in the way and it's difficult to find it again. And I believe that stories can be created by pen and paper, if it's pen and paper, or you can tell stories like we're talking now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Another thing is photographs are a very good way of starting stories
Mm-hmm.
because if you've got someone who you give a bit of paper to and their mind just goes, well, it's a blank bit of paper. You want
Mm-hmm.
me to write a story? What of? But if you give them a picture of, say, a woodland scene with some daffodils or whatever, they might then say, hmm, I wonder what I can make from this. And then it might not be related to the picture that they've seen, but it's
Mm-hmm.
just something that sparks
Right,
a
right.
story.
The starting point.
Yeah.
And I find that for me when I'm creating, um, I need a starting point. But once I have that starting point to get me going, then I can expand from that and kind of, go off in my own direction. So I totally get that. So I love that you have your little cuddly toys. That is so fun.
Yeah.
Like do you take them to your adult workshops?
Yes,
And what's the
absolutely.
reaction you get?
Um, they just kind of accept that that's what's going to happen.
Okay.
I, th- I just kind of like say, and here we have Rory, the adventure story loving dragon, and today he wants to go on an adventure, but he doesn't know where to start. Where do you think he's going to start his adventure? And then I wait.
So just like you do with a group of children, you're doing the
Yep,
same thing with adults.
Yep, The format of my workshops is exactly the same. And as
Mm,
well as activity sheets, I have paper plates which you can draw on because I have like pencils, p pens, crayons. I
yeah.
have stickers because you can do create a story by using a paper plate, blank paper plate, and do stuff like that. I have photographs. I basically take what you'd call, kind of like the cleaning cupboard, the kitchen sink, and a little bit more. I just put it all in the suitcase, and then it covers most of all the eventualities.
Oh my gosh, I absolutely love that. So you didn't start out on this journey as a writer. I mean, you obviously had that idea because you took that class,
Yeah.
but you had a career prior to that
Yes.
starting point. I just love this whole idea that what you did in your home expanded out to the school, hesitatingly, like, I don't know. And then from there, it blossomed out into something even bigger. And did you have another moment of hesitation? So you had a hesitational, that's not even a word, a moment of hesitation before you stepped into that school. And then you were there for 4 years. And then when you took the next step, to really expand it out even more, like how are your feelings then? Or did you still have some fear? Did you still have some discomfort? Or you're just like, okay, I'm confident enough. I'm going to just move this outward to other people.
Well, in 2016, I published my first book, and this is it. This is called Pure Human City.
Okay.
I was on my bucket list to have a book published.
Okay.
Um, and I've met some people at the local library who they were having it was an author event. It turns out it was a couple from indie authors, and the female half of the couple, Kim, said, "Oh yes, you used to work at such and such," and I went, "What, 20 years ago?" She went, "Oh yeah, I remember you," and I'm going, "Whoa, okay then, right. I don't remember you, but I'll nod and smile and just say,
Yeah. Yeah. I
yeah."
know that feeling.
And they indie authors helped people self-publish their books. So I self-published Pure Human City, and I started on the journey of writing my story, and then I gave them my manuscript. So I had gone from being a story to a manuscript. I mean, like,
Ooh.
yes, I know exactly. It was kind of like, woof, they've gone up in the world here. Um, and then it was a process of getting it edited and all the tiny little steps it takes to getting a book from even a seed and idea in your head to being
Hmm.
like a finished article
Yeah.
like this.
Yeah.
And I was going, I've got to do what now? Right, okay. Do you want to have your picture in your back in the bio? No, no, definitely not. My second book, I went, yes, here's the picture. The first book, I was a bit
Yeah,
like,
because
no,
you gain more confidence as you
yeah,
pushed your comfort zone out farther and
yeah,
farther.
yeah.
Hmm.
And then I got to the point where I had a book. I mean, a real live book, which, so
Hmm.
if I open it up there, there are words on that page. And see,
Hmm.
if you shut it and then you open up again, the words are still there. I mean, like, what can we like? And then you kind of like give it a wee hug and you
It's
very
like your
carefully.
baby. It's like your baby, huh?
Mhm. And then my very first copy is wrapped in a kind of plastic pocket, sits underneath my piano, where the lights and dust can't get at it because, it's really important that all these first editions or first copies
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Like I said, you birth those from your creative mind, your stream of consciousness went through everything you needed to go through to bring that into a solid physical, object. And sometimes I think we forget that that's what's taking place. Everything that we have around us started out like that.
Yeah,
Just the idea of a seed, and then somebody decided they wanted to take some action on it. And they had to go maybe through a learning process and go through self-doubt and second guessing themselves. And that's we take things for granted, but we forget that there's this whole process behind it to get it to that final point.
Yeah, as I say, I just thought somehow in my head, what you did was you wrote a story and the book magically appeared.
Mm-hmm.
A
Yep.
wee bit, a wee bit more work than
Yeah.
that.
Now you know.
Absolutely, yes. So what I did was I took the stories which I'd written for my younger daughter, and because the children kept coming back to the workshops in the school, I thought I'd like to put another book together to give to children outside of the school environment. So that was book number two, and I only ever was going to publish one, but I kind of thought, found myself going, do you know, if I'll just mock this up in Word and I do this and I do this and I do this, and then, oh, yes, I've got Serena the Penguin, who's the guide to the children in the book I Can Create Stories I'm about to show you. So this is Serena here.
Mm-hmm.
So
Cute.
Serena is actually drawn by Sarah because I said one day when we were out in the car, I've been trying to draw a wee character to show the children what to do, but I can't. I tried drawing an animated pencil and that was a flop. And a penguin is just not working. And this little voice said, oh, I can do that. You just. So Sarah just created Serena. Um, so I did that. I've done copywriting, I've done trademarking, I had to do
Wow.
audio, I had to do a website. I had
Mm-hmm.
no idea what I was taking on. However, I got there. So this is I Can Create Stories. It's an interactive story creating book for children where they can actually read a page of text and they get to draw in the book as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
I
whatever's
love
so
that.
it's replicating for me what happened within the workshops in the
Right,
school.
right, right.
Yeah.
With those
And,
kids, those young
yep.
kids.
And
So I
there's
love
four.
that I'm sorry, I didn't mean to stop you. I just love that you did not know what you were doing, but
No,
you kept learning. You learned as you went. You didn't have it all figured out from the
no,
get-go. You
no.
just stepped into the opportunity and you just kept learning and things opened up for you, I'm assuming. Then things you were able to connect with the right people and
Yeah.
learn the right thing. And I sometimes I think people feel that like they have to have it all, they have to know everything all at once. And,
Mm.
I can't take that first step until everything's in place and I'm very certain of the end results. But you're telling us, no, you just kind of figure it out as you go.
Well, I sat in a room with a group of people and I said, I'm going to put a book together. Now, I've already done one book, so the other book will be dead easy. Totally different work style book. There's so much more involved. That was like kind of like sort of blasé statement number one. Then the next came along with, I'll need a website and then I'll need to do some create the audio files as well. No one ever said, do you know how much work you're taking on? I'd
Hmm.
never built a website before in my life.
Yeah,
So I
I
just
totally
kind
understand.
I just sort of did it.
And that's what I want to encourage our listeners and our viewers. If you have the idea and the motivation and inspiration, you just start taking those little steps forward, right? And things will just trust that things will all come together and you'll learn what you have to learn and you'll figure it out. And the right people will help you along the way because there's so many helpful people in the world. Like people are just beautiful and they want everybody else to succeed and and that's the point of view we both share, obviously. But that's truly what I believe. Like things will come together for us. We don't have to have it all ready in our head or physically before we take that first step.
Oh yes, I got lucky in that there's a business organization called Business Gateway in
Hmm.
definitely Scotland, so I'm sure pretty sure it's in the rest of the UK. And they have advisors there that will help you. And I went to my Business Gateway advisor and they said, oh, we can give you a grant towards a website. We'll tell you who
Ooh,
can help you. And I went, oh, so I don't have to pay for it. Oh, that's okay. And then
wow.
I went to talk to these people who are going to help me on the website, and they said, "What do you want?" And I went, "Okay." So I went and did my research, and I mocked it up on Word. So I just sort of like sent off the electronically sent the pages to them and said, "Well, this I'd like this, and I'd like this, and I'd like this," and so I now have a website, and it's quite surreal. actually.
Mm.
Sometimes I'm kind of going, okay, so I've just connected with someone in India on LinkedIn. Wow. Okay then.
Again, the
It's like,
magic of technology, man.
yeah,
It's just
yeah,
amazing
yeah,
how that happens. But I just so admire that you're not a young college student where you're stepping into this world. Like, kids growing up nowadays, they have all of this technological,
yeah,
um, they're already immersed in it
yeah,
from very young. And so it almost seems like it's very easy for them to figure this stuff out. We've all seen a young kid like fix something on our device for us. Like how do they even know that? But we're both of us showing that it doesn't matter what age we're at, we can figure this out. There's resources, there's people to help, as you said, that even provided some funding for your website.
yeah.
And so just because we don't know something doesn't shouldn't be a stop or a barrier.
I
It doesn't matter
definitely
what age.
no. If anyone has a goal or something they want to do, I would always say to them, who do you know who can help you do that? And like I am currently, I have to tell you, I signed a contract on getting my fifth book published last week.
Congratulations.
No,
Wow.
absolutely. And there'll be certain elements of this that I don't know what to do because I need an illustrator to give me a cover for these books. My other books, I knew what I wanted, and if
Hmm.
I didn't find something on the internet, I would do, well, see this really rough scribble. If you could just, this rough scribble exactly, sort of the thing that I would like to have
Hmm.
on the front cover. So my learning from my next book, which is one of 12, and I am going to
Ooh.
have three published this year.
Wow,
Yeah.
man.
So my learning for these books is going to be getting working with an illustrator. Having
Mm,
how do I explain my ideas and in a and I am creative
right, right.
someone to someone else. It's kind of like I went one step at a time, and we'll
Yeah,
just,
exactly.
you know,
Exactly. One step at a time and trust the process. I'm
yeah.
sure you've encountered some frustration and some obstacles or roadblocks, but you were able to get past them and get around them. Something else came up. So it's not a smooth ride, I'm sure.
Oh, nothing stops me getting my books published. Nothing.
Mm.
Absolutely nothing.
I love that.
Nothing.
And it almost seems, and correct me if I'm wrong, like you've had all this success, these books published, workshops, and it still almost seems like it's a surprise to you. Like, ooh, is this really what's happening for me? Like, is this what my life has become? So I love that you kind of kept that, ooh, like that excitement about everything. Like, ooh, this is like surreal. Am I wrong about that?
Oh, you're completely right. Do you know, I thought after I published Pure Human City that when I go, I can create stories, it would be slightly less of a thrill. Totally not the case. I can look at this and I know that I've had feedback from children who've really enjoyed it, and I'm going, that was book number two, and
Mm.
you're publishing book number five. I have to tell you, every time I get a copy of my next book, I'm like, oh,
Oh, I love that. That you're keeping the excitement and the enthusiasm and owning what you've done and your accomplishments. Sometimes we dismiss our accomplishments and how far we've come, especially as women. I think we sometimes do that. We tend to stay in the background and promote everybody else. But I applaud you for owning what you've done and be excited about it and you're sharing that energy and that excitement with us. So thank you so much.
Well, do you know, I've got to my time in my life, both my children are in their 20s, which you do have to say quickly. Well, I do. Look in the mirror and I go, how did they get from
I,
like
I,
young to like
I hear you. I know.
how did that happen? And I know it's my time to do what I
Mm.
want to do with my life. And if people are talking to me, I say, well, you're either in the car with me or you're eating the dust in my dust trail.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, because that's how it feels now. I've looked after people, whatever. Now's the time to do something for me because I've discovered something that I absolutely love, and that, some people will say, "So what are you going to do when you retire?" And I went,
Yeah. Yep.
"Retire. Stop doing what I'm doing." Never, really. Never.
Yeah. And if you have that spark and that motivation, that excitement, yeah, why would you stop? There's no need to.
It's fun.
And when it's no longer fun, maybe that's when you'll stop and try something different.
I doubt it'll ever stop being
I
fun.
don't think you will either. But I just want our viewers and our listeners to know like you do it until it's no longer fun, and then
Mhm.
you pivot and you try something else. It's an
Yep.
exciting time when you, like your kids are older and you, like you said, it's your time. It's
Yep.
your time to explore and experiment and try things and see what happens. Ooh, I love that message. So thank you so much for sharing that with us. And I
Yeah.
know people will want to connect with you. So I'm going to invite you now to share where they can get a hold of you. But I also will say, we'll put your contact information in with this recording. So,
Okay. Well, my website is www.clairemillerauthor.co.uk and my email is info@clairemillerauthor.co.uk and I am on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram as Claire Miller, the story creator.
I love that. I love that. Like you are owning it, girl, like the story creator. I love that. You're not shy about it in the least.
Nope.
This is who you are, and you
Yep.
put that clearly out there for the world. Oh, that takes some courage for some of us, like to really step into that and give ourselves permission to take on that role, that persona. So I applaud you for that. Totally. Is there
Yeah.
anything you want to share before we sign off?
I just say if anyone has a dream and you believe in it, no matter what anyone else says, go for it.
Love that. Great message. Thank you so much, Claire. I do have to put my little thing up here. This always reminds me to say this. So if you found that this episode was something that you want to share with somebody, please do so. Subscribe, leave us a comment. We'd love to hear from our audience. Claire, thank you so much. This has been a delighting episode. I so appreciate what you're doing out there in the world and any kids and adults that get to participate with your workshops and whatever you're doing. I'm so thrilled for them. They are lucky indeed. So thank you so much, Claire. Thank you, everybody, for listening in, and we will see you the next time. Bye bye.
Bye.